Greeting, friends, and salutations to everybody out there in the YouTube land. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, which is dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So tonight we're doing a look back at a classic rock album. This one is like over 40 years now. 42 years ago this album came out, and it's definitely a classic. Exploded on the scene as very few albums have at the time. For me, this was a must-have album. I heard it for the first time while I was lifting weights at the gym, and then I immediately went on my bike down to Sam the Record Man in Toronto and got myself a copy of Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz. Yes, a great debut album for one of my favorite singers at the time. I thought after he left Black Sabbath, that was it. Wasn't going to be much going on there anymore. He was out and was going to stay out. Dio was fantastic as a replacement, but Ozzy went and did his thing and came out of the gate slamming the ball out of the park with the Blizzard of Oz. And he did again on the next album, but we're not talking about that one today. We're just talking about the Blizzard of Oz. So let's get the vitals out of the way first. So this album, I'm gonna need my glasses because I didn't use my board today. So there it is, Blizzard of Oz. Can you see all that? Everybody can see that. Good, right there. So the vitals this day, and it helps if I'm on the right page. So the vitals this day are released. Apparently this was released September the 12th, 1980 in the UK, and then wasn't released in the United States till March the 27th, 1981. Now I'm almost 100% sure that that was my first year training at the gym in 1980. Might not have been. It could have been my second year, so I may have heard it for the first time in 1981. Actually, that makes more sense because I remember benching like over 200 pounds at that point. There's no way I did that in my first year. So it had to have been in my second year. So I probably didn't hear the album till sometime in June or July of that summer because I didn't listen to the radio much. And when I heard it the first time, they were playing I Don't Know, and I went out and got the album right away. So that's likely the story, and I'm sticking to it. This was recorded at the Ridge Farm studio in Rusper, England. About 39 and a half minutes long on the Jet record label, and produced by Ozzy, Randy Rhoads, Bob Daisley, and Lee Kerslake, which were pretty much the whole band. I'm just missing one guy. So now we'll talk about who was in the band. So Ozzy was on vocals and harmony vocals. Randy Rhoads on all guitars. Bob Daisley on bass, backing vocals, gong and lyrics. Lee Kerslake on drums, percussion, tubular bells, and timpani. And Don Airey on keyboards. Now I have seen the 2002 release of this album, and there are about 5 or 6 other musicians playing on this. So I don't know if they've overdubbed and changed some of the music from some of the musicians that were on this album originally, or whether those names were all originally on the album and they just never credit them. It could be either way. I didn't really examine who the other members, other people were. I've only heard that, so if they're all fairly new musicians, then obviously that didn't happen. So one of those two things happened, I'm pretty sure. So anyways, this album was released in 81. There are 9 tracks, if I remember correctly, and then in this case, this particular CD has 4 bonus tracks. So I Don't Know is the first track on the album, and to me, it's probably the best track overall. I quite like it a lot. I think it's one of the classically, well, it's one of his best tracks overall. It was the first track I ever heard. I loved it for a while. Crazy Train, of course, is the great rock radio staple that everybody knows. It was one of his biggest hits, if not his biggest hit. Goodbye to Romance is okay. It's kind of a bit of a ballady song, I think. Yeah, I think of it as a bit of a ballad, but I don't mind it. It's one of the few ballads I actually like. And then the next track is a classical acoustic bit that Randy Rhoads plays, and it's quite good. Randy Rhoads had some very good skills. He was in a very good skill set, was part of that original wave of finger tappers that were sent out there to play guitars as well. Suicide Solution, probably my favorite track overall of all of Ozzy's stuff. Yeah, it probably is. It's close. There's a couple of others that I like quite a bit, but I do love this song. Really hard grinding, lots of kind of a morbid song in a lot of ways, but I do like it. Mr. Crowley, another one. Probably it's between these two, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley, for my favorite, and both coincidentally appear on the EP that comes out right after this album, which also has You Said It All on it, which I think is a great EP. It's a great live version of all these tracks, of these three tracks, so well worth hearing. The guitar solo on Mr. Crowley on that is mega killer. Mr. Crowley, of course, is the song that so catchy, so many good things. It's a great song. And then you have No Bone Movies, which is well, we won't get into what it is, but it's such a heavy classic song as well. Then the last two songs, Revelation, Mother Earth, is one of my least favorite of his tracks, and Steal Away the Night, another really fast-paced, heavy riffing song. This is a great album. Just it rocks from the opening to the end. Randy Rhoads' guitar is fully on display here at its best. Well, between this and the second CD, but he is so good. And that live EP, if you ever get a chance to find it or hear it, I don't even know what the title of this. I had it as an album, as a vinyl, and I don't have it as a CD. Has You Said It All, Mr. Crowley, and Suicide Solution, all three live. Great. I wish he'd done that with his live album. That would have been fantastic. But anyways, that's great. And this album, the album cover is great. It's foreboding. Really launched a career that has spanned now more than 40 years of on its own. But this was the opener, and what a great debut album it is. So there you have it. That's Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, recapped, talked about. I played it a lot. It's an album that requires to be played at maximum volume to have full effect. And don't tell your parents I said that, or don't tell your wife I said that. It's probably more likely. So anyways, please make your comments about the album below. Please hit the subscribe button on the side and hit the like. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back next Monday night with another look back at a classic rock album.